Chapter 1, Memory of the Soul, Episode 1. The town built on the rock wall. In the ocean, a young man, Jay, is alone on a fishing boat, sailing at high speed across the ocean. Behind him, several air moves are flying in from behind. When the air moves surrounded the fishing boat and attacked it with electromagnetic waves, Jay's body was lifted and thrown into the sea. Jay falls into the sea and sinks, struggling to stay afloat, entangled in a fishing net. Airmove gathers at the spot where Jay fell and waits for him to surface, but he doesn't. The commander frowns and speaks.
What's going on?
At that moment, the surface of the sea suddenly rises, and a large bubble of smoke appears. It was an undersea volcano. When the bubble burst with a loud noise, a white plume of smoke rose, and the fishing boat was engulfed in fire and exploded. The commander shouted,
"Get out of here!"
The helicopter and air move leave the scene in a hurry and flee. It is one night, an island far from the underwater volcano. LaRue sits on a high cliff. This boy always comes to this place to stare at the sea when he feels sad because his mother is angry with him. Today, a big moon is reflected on the surface of the sea. At one moment, LaRue could see a board glimmering in the moonlight.
Was that a person?
LaRue thought so, even though she could not see well. LaRue rushes to the harbor to call for help. Several days later, after Jay was rescued by the portman, LaRue went to the hospital room every day. A few days later, Jay woke up in his hospital room and saw LaRue in front of him. This was how Jay and LaRue met. LaRue continued to visit the hospital room every day after that. LaRue was amused to listen to Jay's stories. When Jay found out that the island was safe, he told him everything. Stories of how he had lived among orphans by stealing, how he was caught and sent to the front lines of war, stealing the king's treasure and escaping in a fishing boat. All are exciting adventure stories for LaRue. But that's not all. When he is confronted with Jay, who has such a harsh past, he feels that his own sadness is insignificant. Jay has become LaRue's emotional support. 1 year later, this large island is surrounded by cliffs. In one corner of it is a mysterious town called Kudalpani. This city is a vast rock wall fitted with numerous doors and windows. Kudalpani is a harmony of advanced technology and nature, where many people live according to their heart's content. There was LaRue's home. When LaRue returns from outside, he hides and watches his mother. His mother May is apparently frustrated. On a hot day like today, he had forgotten his mother's advice to go out with the windows open. May, sensing LaRue's presence, turns around, slams the shovel on the ground, and yells,
"How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry."
May throws a bag.
I don't want to see your face. Now get out of here."
"Yes, Mom."
LaRue replies and runs away. May looks back angrily, but when she sees Pamela behind the front door, she immediately turns kind.
He's a really slovenly brother.
May is always kind to Pamela. Just then, May gets a call about a job, and she has to rush to the other side of the island to deliver it. May squatted down and patted Pamela's head.
"I'm sorry. I'm only going to be gone for an hour."
May rushed out of the house. After seeing her off, Pamela was left alone in the house. Pamela thought to herself,
"This doesn't happen often,"
and started running toward the harbor. The seafront of Kudalpani is a harbor. Large boats are moored alongside the quay, which rises out of the sea, and the rock wall directly above it is lined with warehouse holes. In these warehouses, Sonya checks the foodstuffs coming into the island.
This quality is bad. I would not want it on the island.
Sonya, 70 years old, is the master of the port and warehouse. Next to her, her assistant Emmy is looking at the data from the food analyzer. Then a man from the port comes in.
Sonya, a lovely customer has come.
Sonya goes to the diner and finds Pamela standing alone, and she wonders why May is not there.
Oh, dear. Are you alone?
Pamela speaks nothing, but Sonya could tell by the way she looked that Pamela was feeling. LaRue had had the same problem a year earlier.
What's the matter? You mean LaRue and your mother, right?
Pamela speaks in a quiet voice.
I want you to help LaRue.
It was something that had been bothering Sonya for a long time. Sonya sighed.
I've been thinking about it for a long time, too. I want the old May back.
Sonya spoke, remembering the old days.
When LaRue was born, May was very happy. She was unable to bear a child. The doctors had given up on her.
Pamela looked surprised.
You didn't know, did you? It was a miracle that LaRue was born. That's why May loved LaRue more than anyone else. She was a very kind. But after your father was lost at sea, May changed. That was right around the time you were born. May closed her mind, quit her job, and stopped talking to me. Did you know that your mother's shop used to be a stone painting store?
Pamela did not know. Sonya continued.
Stone painting is an art that May has been doing since she was a child. She speaks that when she quietly connects her heart with the stones, the brush moves spontaneously. She had a beautiful white studio in the garden.
Sonya remembers May looking at the stones in her studio with the wind blowing in the breeze.
But you know, stone painting is a delicate business. I guess May, whose mind was so disturbed, couldn't do it anymore. After that, the studio was boarded up and became LaRue's room. The gentle, kind May from the stone painting days, that's your real mother.
My real mother.
She must have been in a lot of pain. I wish I could see her sitting in that white studio again.
Neither Sonya nor Pamela could say anything. After a while of silence, Pamela looked at the clock. Sonya sensed this and said softly,
I'll go to the store later.
Episode 2, Akasha's Past Life Guide. This is the top crag of Kudalpani. LaRue climbed up here after May got mad at him and left home. This is the crag where he found Jay a year ago. The purpose of this visit is to see Jay's test flight. There is a vast forest beyond this point. This is where Jay and Uncle G will have their test flight today. At that time, LaRue finds a door fallen on the rocky ground. It was a cheap wooden door, and it was cracked. The moment he saw the door, his soul reacted, and LaRue opened it and went inside, as if mesmerized. Then, all the furniture and tableware in the room began to move in unison. Pen stand on the table were approaching and looking up at LaRue.
Boy. That's unusual.
Boy, give it to me.
LaRue was surprised to see a necklace around his neck in the mirror. When Miller tries to take LaRue's necklace off, Pen stand stops him.
Hey, you. Will you go on your own?
Yes. Because no guides are now.
Okay, I go with you.
With that, Mirror took the necklace and disappeared with Pen stand into the wall of light. At that moment, The door opens, and a large rose comes in and falls to the floor. The rose looks up. The furniture in the room starts talking.
Oh, flower. It's a rose. It's a big face.
The rose looks at Laru. Hey, you. Laru points to himself. Yes, you. Please pick up me.
Yes.
Laru picks up and Rose greets the staff of Akasha. The rose speaks. Nice to meet you. I am Big Rose. I came from the flower garden Akasha. I look forward to working with you today. Big Rose looks around. Oh, Sir Picture is not here. A clock replies bluntly.
Over there.
Big Rose thanks the clock and looks at Laru. You, take me to that room. Laru takes Big Rose into the next room. In the room, there is a picture hanged on the wall by a string. It's drawn a sleeping face. Ah, I have met at last. This is my longing, Sir Picture. He is a legendary past life guide who has been helping humans with their difficult soul problems for thousands of years. I was invited by him to come here. Isn't it wonderful? Big Rose smiled at Laru with pride, and now looked at the staff in the next room. This Akasha staff seems to be in the shape of furniture, adapted to human civilization. Big Rose points to the door. But that door is in poor taste. To the humans, it is a special entrance to another world, an Akashic gate. Every Akasha is very particular about its entrances. Some gates are majestic, while others are made to look fantastic with fog. The placement of the doors is also strange. Every Akasha in the world has a prominent location. In Singapore, it is in a department store. And in Egypt, it is in a museum. Here it is on a cliff like that. Don't you think it's strange? Big Rose turns to Laru. I'm amazed you made it this far. It's amazing. Laru doesn't know what's going on, but answers anyway.
Yes.
At that moment, a light stand came into the room. She spoke.
You must be Big Rose, right?
Yes.
Nice to meet you. I'm Floor Lamp. I'm glad to have a veteran here.
Floor Lamp looks at Laru's face.
Are you Big Rose's chaperone? No, not. You are human.
From the back, a slender single flower vase walks over and smiles at her. Floor Lamp took the vase and held it out to Laru.
Please stick her in this vase.
Yes.
Laru put the Big Rose in the vase.
Now you are free to walk.
Thank you.
Let's check your past life then, Miller. Come here for a minute.
Floor Lamp looks around the room, but Miller is not there. Mug says,
He went with Pen Stand.
At the time, Miller and Pen Stand came out of the wall that the mug pointed to.
What are you doing? You're an apprentice.
Miller is frightened. Pen Stand says pompously,
So I went with him.
I forgive you just this once. So, have you investigated his situation in this life?
Miller says timidly,
I don't need an investigation. It's a common pattern. In a past life, you were enemies, weren't you?
Floor Lamp speaks angrily.
He doesn't know that. Why he came in here, I have to find out his problem.
Lamp leads Laru to a glowing wall. The wall is crystal clear and there is a swirling light behind it. Floor Lamp asks Laru,
Do you know what this is?
No.
Floor Lamp continues,
This is the Akashic Records. It is a database that contains all the memories of the universe, past and present. You can see when you were born and who you are today. Let's look at your daily life first.
Floor lamp called a light from the swirling light. As the light spread throughout the room, a scene appeared in which LaRue was eating a piece of bread alone.
That was me this morning.
A new light fly. The scene changes to Pamela and May eating together.
This is my sister and mother.
The scene changes to May being angry at LaRue. May throws a bag at LaRue and yells at him.
I don't want to see your face. Now get out of here.
Floor lamp looks sad.
Your mother has a terrible temper.
My mother is always like this.
Your mother hates you, doesn't she? Does she also prevent you from seeing your sister?
LaRue nods.
I know what's wrong with you in this life. So, did you find the cause?
Of course.
Then I'll put the doll out.
3 dolls appeared on the table. LaRue, Pamela, and May. The 3 are soldiers.
May was also Pamela's parent at past life. And this LaRue was a soldier hired to protect the boy Pamela. But
then the dolls begin to move. Pamela gets an arrow in his leg, and LaRue picks him up. But when more arrows fly, LaRue runs off, leaving Pamela behind.
He had to protect, but he left him on the battlefield.
The doll May watching in the distance changed its expression from amazed to cursing.
yes, May died in this condition too.
I see. So it's imprinted on her soul.
Mirror's face grew confident.
But you know, we have found a solution.
A solution?
Actually, Pamela ordered LaRue to go help May.
Is that why he ran?
That's right. But to May, it looks like LaRue abandoned Pamela and ran away.
Oh. It's a misunderstanding.
That way, this boy's mala will be white.
Then, LaRue asks.
What is mala?
Floor lamp is surprised.
Don't you know that too? Do you know what past life is?
No.
Floor lamp hears this and glares at Mirror.
At first, you had to teach him, right? Your job is to show Mala.
Floor lamp holds Mirror and shows the necklace to LaRue. Mirror's role was to copy Mala.
This is your Mala. I'll have to start by explaining past life.
Floor lamp then moves the doll on the table.
Before you were born in this life, you lived another life. That is your past life. When something bad happens in your past life, it leaves a scar on your soul. That scar will have a bad influence on your current life.
Floor lamp touches LaRue's necklace.
This Mala. Each stone is your past life. The black stone is your past life that has scarred your soul. Our mission is to go to this black past life and find the cause. When you return to your world, you will forget what happened here. But something will remain in your heart.
Chairs and tables speak.
Awareness.
Intuition.
Inspiration.
Revelation.
It heals the wounds in your soul and solves your problems. Then the black stone will turn white, just like this stone.
Floor lamp touched the whitest stone in the LaRue's mala.
This stone is so beautiful. This must have been a very good life.
LaRue picks up its white stone. Then a forest is reflected in the wall of light.
You used to be in this forest.
At that moment, a shadow appears in the forest. The shadow in the light turns into a snail and jumps into Akasha. The giant snail bounces violently and crashes into the opposite wall. The staff panicked.
What is it?
Take this back to the past where it came in.
Pen Stand gathers his furniture staff and pushes the snail in front of the wall of light.
Let's go.
With that call, all the staff members got down. LaRue, however, remained standing. Bookshelf, table, large furniture push the snail against the wall. With a violent crash, the wind blows. LaRue is sent flying by the blast, breaking down the door and flying out. The blast subsides. The staff who had been lying down gradually look up. Big Rose has been blown to the corner of the room. She murmurs, "That snail is a junk soul." Episode 3, Camise. This is the Kudalpani Cave shopping area. The arcades run all the way to the end of the large, spacious cave. It is a place where culture and entertainment from all over the world gather. And it is always crowded with people. Past the restaurant area, there is a plaza with icicle-shaped stalactites that are fantastically illuminated. Near the entrance to the plaza is May's store. May welcomes Sonya with a beaming smile. Pamela is in the square where the children gather. Sonya was told this and went to the children's square. Pamela is reading a book by herself. When she sees Sonya, Pamela stands up happily.
Thank you for what you did for me earlier. Should I keep it a secret that you came to the port?
Pamela nods. Sonya hands her a brooch with beautiful layers of stone. This is May's rendering of a scene from Sonya's memory. Sonya points to the layers.
This is horizon and a bird.
Sonya closed her eyes and recalled the scene.
The blue bird in my hand flew away to the light on the horizon. I don't know if I really saw it or if it was a dream. But for some reason, when I recall this scene, it warms my heart. When I told May about it, she drew it on a brooch she was wearing, a brooch she had treasured for a long time, and she gave it to me.
Mom's precious brooch.
At that moment, the lid of the brooch Pamela had been fiddling with opened. Sonya did not know it was a brooch that could hold a photo. There is a small piece of paper inside. Sonya asks,
"What is it?"
Pamela opens the paper and reads,
"Please give me a baby."
They look at each other. It was obviously May's wish. Then Pamela's eyes lit up.
Could it be a magic stone? I saw it in a picture book.
It was the first time Sonya had seen Pamela smile.
I think the stone left May because her wish came true. Then this is looking for the next master. It's you. I'm giving this stone to you.
Pamela was happy for a moment, but soon her smile faded.
I don't want it.
Then, Pamela gives the brooch back to Sonya. Sonya does not know why.
I know that you help a lot of people. That's why you must have this stone.
That's the men who gather at Sonya's port. Sonya laughs.
That's them, isn't it? They were all outcasts of society. They escaped from the world and found a place here. That's all. I didn't do anything for them.
Sonya let Pamela hold the brooch again.
You are the next master. But you mustn't show it to anyone. The magic must be kept secret.
Meanwhile, on a rocky outcrop at the top of the Kudalpani cliffs, stands LaRue. After he returned to this world, his memories of Akasha have been erased. He has returned to the time when he was about to enter the forest. Ahead is a deep forest. It is a place where the sun's rays do not reach us because of the leaves. Then he heard a voice from the forest.
Uncle G.
LaRue raised his voice.
Jay.
Jay appeared from the back of the forest.
LaRue, what are you doing here?
I'm here to watch your first flight. But why are you alone?
When I came to, I was lying on the ground.
What? You fell?
During the flight, Uncle G suddenly opened his parachute and Camise crashed. And Camise fell into a tree. I remember up to the part where I fell on the tree, but I don't remember anything beyond that. When I came to, I was on the ground.
That's when the location terminal reacted. Apparently Camise is in a tree. Jay told LaRue to wait here and climbed up the tree. At the top of the tree, Uncle G was sleeping comfortably using his parachute as a bed. When Jay called out, Uncle G woke up and stretched. Uncle G laughed.
It felt so good, I fell asleep.
I was worried, but good.
Jay then tells LaRue under the tree.
LaRue, I'll be waiting for you on that rock.
Jay and Uncle G are waiting for LaRue at the rocky outcrop through the forest.
Wow, this is your Camise.
Isn't it cool?
LaRue nods.
Come on Jay, show Camise to LaRue.
Jay gets into the Camise and puts wind in the wings to make himself float. LaRue claps his hands in delight. Uncle G points to the ocean.
Hey, the strong winds of the sea are calling to you.
But Jay looked troubled. He was told to fly only over the forest and never out to sea. Still, Uncle G speaks.
I think Emmy worries too much. It'll be fine.
That's right.
Jay speaks, and with that he spreads his wings, catches the wind, and begins to soar.
Wow, that's so cool.
Come on, show us your top speed.
Jay is hurtling toward the surface of the ocean at a high speed. Just before it hit the surface of the sea, it turned at a right angle and flew horizontally. LaRue jumps up and rejoices.
That goofy, bending, sharpness. It's awesome.
Directly below the cliff LaRue is looking at is the city of Kudalpani. People in the city notice Camise flying in the distance. The windows on the wall open one by one, and more spectators start to gather on the sidewalks. Just then Sonya and Emmy Airmove come out of the cave arcade. The area is filled with people cheering.
What was that?
Emmy doesn't have time to answer and jumps off Airmove, yelling.
Jay, stop.
But the shouts do not reach Jay. Spectators are filming the acrobatic flight. Emmy murmurs.
Too bad.
Episode 4, Primitive Era Forest. Big Rose watches LaRue's back from within Akasha. LaRue watches Jay fly. Floor lamp and mirror are still in the back room looking for a new door. Now, if LaRue enters Akasha, Big Rose will have its way. LaRue remained facing forward, oblivious to her, and did not turn around at all. Now is her chance. With that thought, Big Rose went outside and brought the door right above LaRue. She then opens the door and drops it on LaRue's head. LaRue slides headfirst into Akasha and sprawls on the floor.
What?
The staff greets him.
Welcome back.
Big Rose fell beside LaRue. I'm sorry I startled you. I want to go to that white past life. Can I borrow your mala? LaRue removes the necklace and hands it to Big Rose. Big Rose touches the stone, and a dead forest appears on the wall. You want to come with me? It's a white past life, so there's nothing to be afraid of. Come on, let's go. LaRue holds Big Rose in his hand and walks into the light. When Big Rose and LaRue come out of the light, a large tree appeared before them. It is a dead forest, a primitive era forest. All the trees are dead, but this big tree is alive. This is your white past life. LaRue was surprised to find himself floating through the air. His body is transparent. He is like a ghost now. Nothing can touch everything. But in this past life, You don't seem human. Because you're very small. Leroux approached the ground and compared his size to the leaves.
It's true.
At that moment, a blue bird comes out of a hollow in the tree at the base. Leroux gasps, and Big Rose asks, "What?"
I think it's me.
Wow, so this bird is you. Animals have souls, and they all reincarnate in the same way. From insects to birds, from birds to dogs, and so on. But Leroux is not listening to this explanation. He is concentrating on the feelings of the blue bird.
This bird is worried about something.
Big Rose knew that this world is tens of thousands of years old. That's why Leroux takes so long to remember.
I didn't know birds had feelings.
Yes, even plants have feelings. The blue bird bounced and entered a crevice in the ground. On the bedrock, the snail seemed to fall off the edge. But it had reached its limit. Below, it is dark with no bottom in sight. Leroux flew down to catch the snail. At that moment, something shone brightly in the darkness. Light is coming toward Leroux at breakneck speed. The snail from above and the light from below. Leroux, caught in the middle, disappears into the light along with the snail. Big Rose, in a panic, rushes into the light. Within Akasha, Leroux and a snail flew in from the light. There was a violent crash and Leroux slammed into the opposite wall. Miller, who was carrying Picture, is knocked over.
Quick, bring back the snail.
Staff again pushes the snail to the wall. Immediately, Akasha was hit by a blast. This time, Leroux could remain at Akasha. Penstand glares at Leroux.
What's your relationship to that snail?
Friends or associates?
This boy is dangerous.
Picture nods.
That's right, bring him back.
Staff take Leroux to the door. The door is still broken, and a hole reveals the outside. Leroux spots Camise outside.
Oh, Jay.
Then Leroux ran out the door. At that moment, Big Rose fell to the floor in front of the wall. Picture asks,
Are you the past life guide from the Flower Gardens, Akasha?
Yes.
You know that snail is junk soul, don't you?
Yes.
No way.
Why would she did that?
Is it to destroy this place? To bring misfortune?
No, sir.
Then why?
I just wanted to make sure the junk soul was really bad.
Junk is crap.
It distorts time and space.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Why do you think so?
Actually, I've been going through the Akashic records and I found out. Humans perceive things differently than we do.
It doesn't matter what people think.
Don't worry, just keep speaking.
There are people who use Akasha to produce supernatural powers. But they also rescue human souls. It's not common for souls to come out of past life. It's an excellent ability. Having said that much, Picture nodded.
I see.
Big Rose thought, thank God, Sir Picture understands. But Picture said,
Keep her pasted in.
After that, Big Rose will be stuck to the wall. Picture speaks.
How many Akashas have been destroyed? No soul should ever violate the rules of the universe. They are unclean in their very existence. Know this.
Episode 5, A Door in the Harbor. It is now completely dark, and the dinner party has begun in the harbor square. Jay is making noise around the fire with the men of the harbor. Then Leroux, Uncle G, and Emmy arrive. Sonya greets them. Sonya was worried because Emmy had disappeared after that Camise flight. Sonya asks,
What were you doing?
We were working on a plan.
Jay was going to be in trouble.
Emmy continues.
Today's flight of Camise is like letting Jay know he's alive. The people in that country will come for sure. The king was so angry that he put a bounty on his head. We will make it look like Jay has fled the island. In the meantime, we're going to have Jay stay hidden where he will never be found.
Speaks the carefree Uncle G.
I don't have a choice. Well, I'll let him live in a cave in the woods.
I understand your story.
Good. We'll start tomorrow.
I'll help in any way I can.
At that moment, a knife suddenly plunged into the table in front of LaRue. Jay, holding the bottle, is quite drunk.
LaRue, isn't it? Well, drink up.
Jay pours liquor into LaRue's glass.
That's just wine.
Sonya calls out to the men.
Can you take this drunk over there?
The men grab Jay and drag him away. Jay screams.
Let go.
Jay is gone. Emmy pulls out a knife stuck in the table.
This is his protector.
The most precious thing next to life, apparently.
LaRue looks at the knife.
It's cool.
Before dawn, in the dream, LaRue is moving at high speed over the water, holding onto a stick. A girl is clinging to his legs, and darkness is chasing behind him. LaRue's fear reaches an extreme and he kicks the girl. LaRue wakes up there and mumbles.
Again.
Feeling terrible, LaRue wrapped himself in his blankets again. Around the same time, May also wakes up from a nightmare. LaRue and May are both having the same dream. Here is the pre-dawn sea. A helicopter is approaching the island. It is Cantor and his men. Cantor is looking at the rocky cliff city through binoculars.
They really do live on rock walls, don't they?
Subordinate explains.
That's the city of Kudalpani. The market, the factories, every establishment is in the rocks. Yeah, I've heard. They are an odd bunch. The caves seem to have stable temperatures and minimal energy requirements. Furthermore, a variety of technologies are being produced on the island. Air move, which is used by the military, is one example. It was developed to get around the island, where there are no roads. There is also an explanation about the islanders. On this island, the people are part of the Earth's circulation. That is why their abilities have improved dramatically. They speak. It means their consciousness is of the Earth. Consciousness is earthly? What do you mean? Because the island doesn't belong to any country? They don't seem to have any awareness of being a country in the first place. I can't understand it at all. That doesn't matter. Did you get any local cooperation? The local rescue police are going to help us.
Cantor clenches his fists and murmurs.
I'm going to get him this time.
There is a wooden container yard on the seaward side of the large rock shelf plaza. Above it, Penstand and Miller are floating in the air. A round iron door floats in the air in front of them.
This door is nice, isn't it? How progressive.
Penstand looks satisfied as he gazes at the door lit by the morning sun.
In the human world, the doors to safes and submarines are round steel plates. Besides, it's easy to be seen here.
They look around the harbor square. Here and there in the square, drunken men are sleeping.
There's a lot of people there.
Miller seems happy.
If enough people show up, maybe I'll get to be a guide.
Yeah, maybe.
My position is in jeopardy because of those rows.
Never mind. Big Rose can't move for a while.
I hope so.
They opened the steel plate door and went inside. In the plaza, LaRue sleeps wrapped in a blanket among the men. May walks in and sees LaRue and gets annoyed. Then she suddenly rips off the blanket and yells at them.
How long are you sleeping? You're bothering everyone.
Luru woke up startled. He quickly apologized.
I'm sorry.
Mei also doesn't like that Luru is so quick to apologize. But then she sees Sonya. As Sonya approaches, Mei puts on a kind face and walks over to her.
Thank you for yesterday.
Mei speaks softly to Luru.
Did you have a good time last night?
Mei acts like a good mother in front of others.
Well, wake everyone up. I think Jay is still sleeping.
Luru replies and runs off. At that moment, Mei stops to look out to sea. Sonya asks,
Do you see anything?
Yes.
As if fascinated by something, Mei walks toward the crate yard by the sea. Mei sees a round steel plate on top of the crate. But Sonya does not see it. Sonya follows. Mei silently climbs up the crate, opens the door and goes inside. Then, a mug and a table lamp greet her.
Good morning. Nice to meet you.
Mei looks back and sees Sonya. Sonya is there. She cannot see the door. Mei reaches out her hand to Sonya. Touching the hand, Sonya remembered everything.
Ah, here it is.
Sonya walks in and looks around the room.
Hey everyone at Past Life Trip Company, how are you?
It isn't a company.
It isn't a trip in the first place.
See Mei's mala in Miller's picture. Pen stand is surprised.
Wow, all the stones are completely black.
Then Miller looks at Mei's face.
Oh, aren't you the boy's mother?
Oh, yes.
I saw it.
Did Laru come here?
Oh, yes. I found the cause of this family's problems. I also found out the reason why she hate her son and only love her daughter.
Really? You're a big deal too. You've become a full-fledged guide.
Miller speaks in a great way.
You think so, right?
At that moment, Mei notices Big Rose on the wall.
Big Rose.
Mei run to her.
You're Big Rose, aren't you?
Big Rose did not know who she was. But the moment Mei took the leafy hand, Big Rose remembered. Big Rose looks happy. Mei? Girl Mei?
Yes, it's me.
I didn't know because I've grown up.
I'm a mom of 2 now.
When you were 6 years old, you stopped coming to Flower Garden Akasha. I was worried about you. At that point, Big Rose's smile faded. Do you still have that nightmare? Mei's smile fades, too.
Yes, sometimes.
Big Rose speaks with a sad look on her face. I'm so sorry. I wasn't strong enough to heal the wounds on your soul.
What are you talking about? It's not your fault. It's not like Big Rose to say that.
She's now like the kid.
That's good. It reminds me of the old Mei.
Floor Lamp speaks.
It is not all coincidence that you are here today and that you are reunited with Big Rose. Come on, Mei, trace mala.
When Mei touches the mala stone, the scene flashes on the wall of light.
Stop. This is the past life I've seen.
So this is where your family's problems?
I want to know what the hell happened with Laru.
Miller then stood in front of Mei with a great look on his face. Miller held his hand up to the wall of light.
I'll explain it to you right now.
But Sonya stops him.
It would be faster if we go.
Sonya pulls Mei's hand and walks into the wall of light. The staff is stunned. Floor Lamp is in a panic.
Wait a minute.
Floor Lamp followed Sonya into the light on the wall. Chapter 2, Reasons for Reincarnation. Episode 6, Ancient Chinese Battlefield. On a vast plain, there was a town surrounded by high walls from east to west, north to south. About 1,000 soldiers are fleeing into this town. Outside the walls, tens of thousands of enemy soldiers are hurling a chorus from all sides. This chorus has caused anxiety among the fleeing soldiers. In one of the livestock pens, a wounded soldier was lying on a straw. His son Rui is sitting next to him. Rui looks happy at the resounding chorus, but his father is unhappy. Outside, a light floats up and May and Sonya jump out from inside. Floor Lamp also comes out to follow them.
Wait a minute. Humans are not allowed to come to the black past life.
Well, we'll be back soon.
Sonya is floating around, looking pleasantly flustered.
It's nice to be light, isn't it? That's why I can't stop traveling with past life. So, when's this era?
It's around the 3rd century BC. It was during the Qin and Han dynasties.
You mean old China?
Despite their conversation, May looks difficult as she listens to the chorus echoing in the sky. It's how she felt when she was alive in this time. May murmurs,
This song.
What about this song?
The enemy that surrounds us on the outside is singing a song about our country, Sing. It is the enemy's strategy to disturb our mind. But Pamela has come to believe that the people singing are absolutely our countrymen.
The three enter the corral. May points to the soldier lying there, covered in wounds.
This is me.
Sonya borrowed a loupe from Floor Lamp. When she looked at the father with it, she saw May's face.
This soldier is you. And the boy next to him is Pamela. So, you and Pamela were both men at that time. Father and son.
At that moment, a soldier rushes into the corral. Sonya looks at the young soldier with a loupe.
He is Laru.
He is a soldier I hired to protect my son.
You hired Laru to protect Pamela.
Sonya and the others listen to what they are saying. They can't understand their language, but their words come through telepathically. Yunlin, the Laru of past life, sits before Rui's father, the May of past life. Yunlin speaks.
My master, the mission is tonight.
Rui speaks.
The mission is for everyone to run behind enemy lines.
Oh, yes.
Hearing this, Rui cringes.
It's absurd to break through the enemy lines in the middle of the night when they're asleep. They will counterattack. We will all die.
Rui's father speaks. Rui.
Our army has no other choice.
Father. So, we should ask our friends for help.
Don't say it. There is no friends in enemies.
Then the father shuts his voice and quietly closes his eyes. He is already prepared to die here.
The songs of the enemy, which used to grate on his ears, now sound pleasant.
Father, I can't leave without you.
It has been decided that those who cannot move will stay. We are slowing you down.
The father then speaks to Rui with his eyes closed.
I must apologize to you. I brought you into the fight because I wanted to raise you like a man, ignoring your mother's objections. But she was right. You are not suited for war, gentle boy.
He takes Yunlin's hand.
Yunlan, the only thing that saved me is that you came. Please send Rui back to our mother.
Master.
Now you are ready. Go out.
Rui takes Yunlin outside.
Hey! Let's get out of here before the operation starts.
What?
We're going to leave here now and look for our countrymen among the enemy. That way we can help everyone else too.
Yunlin thought.
Even if they were all enemies, a boy like this might listen to him.
Then he said,
Let's do that.
Rui is delighted.
Thanks.
They come back to the corral with a rope. Rui shouts.
Father, I'm sorry.
Yunlin knocks his father unconscious, ties him up, and carries him away. They climbed over the high walls and went outside the castle. In the distance, they saw countless torches. At that moment, Rui's father wakes up and storms. He falls to the ground and groans. His mouth is sealed. Rui thought that he had to get to the enemy camp quickly to find his help.
I'll go first.
Rui started running towards the enemy camp. Soon after he started running, several arrows flew toward Rui. One of them pierced Rui's leg and he fell on the spot. Yunlin is startled and goes over to Rui. Rui is unable to walk. Rui, fighting back the pain, speaks.
Father was right. It was a trap. Someone taught them the song of the motherland.
Just get on my back.
From the enemy camp, an enemy with a torch approaches. Rui sees it.
Take my father and run. They are coming.
Yunlin does not listen and tries to force Rui on his back. However, Rui shrugs it off. Rui speaks in a dignified voice.
From now, I order you to protect your father.
Yunlin stops moving. In terms of position, Yunlin is a hired hand. Rui continues.
Carry my father inside the walls.
Yunlin is puzzled.
Rui. Sir.
Mei, who had been silently watching from above, couldn't help but speak out.
Pamela, what are you talking about? LaRue, just take Pamela to the castle as soon as possible.
Rui, of course, does not hear Mei's voice. Rui speaks.
Yunlin, go quickly.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yunlin then quietly places Rui on the ground. Mei shouts.
LaRue, don't go. Your job is to protect Pamela.
As Yunlin was about to run toward his father, a mouse climbed into his lap. Startled by the suddenness of the incident, Yunlin fell into a deep hole in front of him. Immediately thereafter, arrows rained down on Rui. However, they did not reach the bottom of the hole, and Yunlin was saved. Arrows also flew at Rui's father, who was watching in the distance. Since he was tied up, he was unable to avoid it and fell to the ground after receiving several arrows. Rui's father cursed in a voice.
Yunlin, I never forgive you.
Then, Rui's father died. At the large rock shelf plaza in Kudalpani, LaRue is cleaning up after the banquet with the portmen. LaRue looks out to sea and sees a round steel door. LaRue walks toward the door as if he were being drawn to it. And without hesitation, LaRue entered Akasha as if mesmerized. Then Mugs and Bookshelf greet.
Good morning. Here you are again.
LaRue is used to it by the third time, and he smiles back at the staff's greeting. LaRue found Big Rose stuck to the wall.
What are you doing?
As you can see, the clock on the wall is gruffly
5 hours and 5 minutes until the end of the punishment.
By the way, I was surprised to find out you are Mei's child. LaRue is surprised.
My mother came here?
Yes. With Sonya, Miller and Penstand interrupts the conversation.
Yeah, they're doing the operation I planned.
They're at another time. You want to see them?
Mother? No, I don't want to.
But Penstand forces the hands of the clock to move. Clock hurts.
Ouch.
Then space-time warped and Sonya appeared.
Oh, LaRue.
Aunt Sonya.
But there is no Mei there. Penstand asks.
Hey, what happened to the other one?
Mei never moves from Pamela's side.
Big Rose speaks worriedly. Girl Mei, I hope she's okay. Sonya asks Big Rose.
By the way, why are you on the wall?
Miller replies.
She chased a bad snail.
What do you mean that? Snail isn't bad.
Sonya asks.
What? Snail?
When Leroux touches the white stone of Mala, the forest of the primitive era is projected.
The snail is here.
Did you go here?
Yes, do you know here?
Yes, of course. Let's go there for a moment.
Sonya pulls Leroux's hand and walks into the light. Penstand is in a panic.
Oh, hey.
Penstand followed by Miller. It was the forest of the primitive era. A light appears above the dead forest and Sonya and Leroux come out. Then Penstand and Miller jump out. Sonya smiles.
You're here too. Thanks for coming. By the way, can I borrow your loop for a second?
Sonya takes the loop from Penstand and hands it to Leroux.
Look with it.
Leroux looked with a loop and saw Sonya's figure superimposed on a large tree. Leroux is amazed.
Was this true, Sonya?
Sonya shows the squirrel in the tree with a loop.
It's Annie.
Leroux also looks at the rats and caterpillars around him.
They're all in the harbor.
Everyone came here for water. My roots were the only ones that reached the groundwater.
It's that water, isn't it? Come here.
Leroux leads Sonya to a cavity where snails have fallen. The roots of a large tree are visible in this cavity. This place was created by a distortion of space-time when the snail was pushed out of Akasha. Water is gushing from the ceiling like a shower and puddles are forming on the floor.
The animals couldn't drink the water. But the earthquake made a crack. They can now come here. That's good.
But Leroux looked troubled and said,
But if we fall in here, we can't go out.
Sonya checks the crack in the ceiling where the water spurts out.
Surely nobody can get out of this.
Leroux shows a blue bird resting in the dark.
This me.
I think this bird has a broken wing and can't fly. He couldn't follow his family when they moved to the other forest.
As they were talking, Floorlamp came over to them.
You too. She came back from past life.
May? Well, let's go back.
Leroux is puzzled. Floorlamp pulled Leroux and led her into the light. When Leroux and the others return to Akasha, May is there.
Pamela lays down her life to help us. That's what she thought.
May turns to Leroux.
But you abandoned her and ran away. You suck.
May walks to the door and go out, violently closing the door behind her. In the quiet, Big Rose murmurs, I knew it. It wasn't that easy. But Leroux remains unconcerned.
Mom is always like that.
For Leroux, it is always May. But Sonya smiles gently.
She's not like that. We have a solution.
Exactly. I'll see how her soul changes after that. Maybe I can find out something.
Floorlamp holds Leroux's mala. The pictures on the wall are fluttering and changing. At one point, Sonya stops her.
How about this one?
A city of cobblestones. Okay, I'll go here and look.
Floorlamp goes into the wall of light. Then Sonya asks Leroux,
Do you want to go there?
Yes.
Then, Sonya takes Leroux by the hand and leads him into the light.
Wait a minute.
Penstand and Miller rushes into the wall of light. Episode 7. Witch Trials in Medieval Europe. On her way home from school, Nell is walking along a path in a field when she sees a horse-drawn carriage coming from the distance. Inside the carriage, Stella and her mother are tied up. Jonathan comes running up behind them. Both Stella and Jonathan are Nell's classmates. Jonathan shouts under his breath,
Stella.
From above, a hawk swoops down and threatens the carriage horses. The startled horse stops right in front of Nell. When Jonathan comes up to the carriage, the hawk gets on Jonathan's shoulder. Stella shouts,
Help!
From inside the carriage, the voice is heard.
Shut up.
It is Hopkins. Hopkins thrusts his saber at Stella.
You've got it all wrong. I am the only one who can save you. Unless, of course, you are a witch.
Jonathan ignores Hopkins.
Don't worry, Stella. Now we'll take care of it.
Hopkins glares at Jonathan and says,
Nell? Who's that?
Jonathan points to Nell.
Nell's father is Congressman Cooper.
Hopkins speaks.
Nell, huh? I'll keep that in mind.
Hopkins smiles wryly and points his saber at Nell.
I am working on behalf of God to lift the curse on this city. I don't care who you are. God's judgment will fall on anyone who stands in my way.
Stella's mother cried out from the back of the carriage. Please, just save Stella. Hopkins glares at her mother.
Enough. Go.
Then, the carriage started to drive away. Please, just help Stella. Her mother's voice is getting quieter and quieter. Jonathan, who was left behind, said,
If she goes to trial, she will be declared a witch and burned at the stake. Nell, you are the only one who can help her.
Nell nodded, freaked out. Nell went home and told his father. After hearing Nell's story, his father Cooper said quietly but firmly,
I am certainly one of the people responsible for bringing Hopkins to our city. But I have no power to restrain him. He considers anyone who defends a suspected witch to be an agent of the devil. You are already under suspicion. All you must do is prove your innocence in court.
At that moment, Nell hears Jonathan's voice coming to get him.
Nell, let's go.
Then Cooper speaks.
Nell, forget about your friend. It's the only way you'll survive. You understand?
In the courthouse, Stella and her mother are tied up. Nell enters the courtroom and is sit. Jonathan sits beside him. From there, some voice can be heard.
I didn't know that the house was a witch too.
I heard that the dog was also a witch.
They say they use animals to spread the plague.
Hearing this, Jonathan speaks to Nell.
It's a terribly bad rumor. But don't worry, just tell the truth.
Nell replied weakly.
Yes.
Hopkins and the others enter the courtroom, and the trial begins. The judge reads out the charges.
The defendant girl was talking to a dog at the entrance to the forest of Toril. She then changed into a bat and flew to the city. Furthermore, on March 9th, at a satanic meeting.
That's one hell of a lie.
Nell has no answer. The judge said,
Nell Cooper, come to the stand.
At the time, his father coughed loudly. The silent warning made Nell so nervous. Now, Nell could not hear anything. A light appeared on the ceiling and floor lamp came out. Sonya and LaRue came out next. Finally, pen stand and mirror came out.
Hey you.
Floor lamp turns around.
No, you must go back to Akasha.
At the time, LaRue points Nell.
It's me.
Sonya points her loop at Stella and her mother, who are tied up and forced to sit on the stand. Sonya says,
That's Pamela and May, isn't it?
The judge called Nell.
Nell, who is in court as a witness. The witness Nell's father, Senator Cooper, has donated a large sum of money to the cause of eradicating witches. And
at that moment, a note is handed to the presiding judge. The judge stops deliberating when he sees the note.
One moment, please.
Then the presiding judge asks,
I understand that you were threatened by the witches to give false testimony.
The room was abuzz. Stella was so startled that she could not speak. Nell looked down and did not move. Judge asks,
Is it true? Did the defendant ask you to do this?
Nell was too nervous to hear anything. Leroux felt the same way as Nell. Sonya watched as Leroux held his shaking knees. The judge speaks to Nell a little louder.
How is?
Nell looks down and reflexively answers.
Yes.
A murmur echoes through the room. The judge speaks.
Quiet, quiet. The witness admitted to being threatened by the witch.
What?
Nell was startled. Several men surround the witness stand and force him out. The men were his father's servants. Leroux, who was watching from the air, clutched his head and muttered,
"What a terrible thing I have done."
A few hours later, Nell is sitting beside his father Cooper in the living room of their house. Cooper's men stand at the entrance.
It's time for the executions to begin.
We'll have guards to make sure he doesn't get out.
Sonya looks worried.
They're not going to let him see it, are they?
Leroux goes out the window. He seems to be planning to watch the execution.
Don't go there.
Floor Lamp followed Leroux. In the cobblestone square where the execution platform is set up, Stella and her mother are tied to a pillar. Jonathan's hawk is flying around threatening the gathered crowd. Jonathan shouts as he chases after the hawk. Jonathan chases after the hawk and shouts,
"Stop. Come back here. What's wrong?"
Floor Lamp and the others, passing the hawk, hold Leroux, who is flying unsteadily. Sonya said,
"Don't look at it. Let's go back."
Mirror and Floor Lamp push Leroux into the light. Back in Akasha, Leroux is sitting on the floor, unable to move due to shock. Sonya is alone with her thoughts. Floor Lamp tells Big Rose, who is stuck to the wall, what she has seen. "I see, once again you have betrayed May's wishes."
But unlike before, it wasn't a misunderstanding.
Yeah, I feel like it backfired.
Sonya, listening to this, mumbles as she walks away.
Misunderstandings, backfires.
Sonya then went to the back room. After a while, she came back with a picture over her shoulder and said,
"It's time for the general to come out."
At that moment, picture and the desk collided. The desk screams,
"Ouch!"
Picture, who was sleeping, wakes up.
What?
Oh, you woke up. It's been a long time.
There you come again. Which guy this time?
I'm wondering if there's any way to unravel his family's past life problem.
Oh, my. This boy.
Over the centuries, this family has gotten worse and worse. It need to examine black past life, not white.
Let's see me his mala.
Floor Lamp brings mirror and shows Leroux's mala to Picture.
This is a very deep connection.
Picture closed his eyes. Then, one of the black stones in the mala begins to glow. Picture said,
"Go and see this past life."
Floor Lamp touched the stone. Then, a large farm reflected in the wall of light.
What era?
Perhaps it is a past life, one before now. There must be a big hint condensed over hundreds of years here.
That's what I'd expect from you.
Sonya then pulls the big rose off the wall.
Don't rip it off the wall without permission. She is being punished now.
I think she has a close connection with this family.
Big Rose is smiling. Leroux sits holding her knees, face down. Sonya pulls Leroux's arm.
Come on, let's go.
Floor Lamp stops Sonya.
Humans are not allowed to go to the black past life.
I went earlier. So why not this time too?
What I allowed was a white past life only.
Don't worry about the details.
No.
I understand.
Then, Sonya put Picture's strap over Leroux's shoulder. Picture goes wild on Leroux's back.
What are you doing?
Please go instead of me.
No. I'm retired.
You're the only one who could whiten my black mala. That's why I'm asking you.
Big Rose leans forward. Sir Picture healed you?
Yes, I was taken to my black past life by him, and a big soul wound was healed.
Big Rose exclaims in excitement. That is the legend of Sir Picture.
That was a long time ago.
Big Rose looks down into Leroux's face. You have to go. Go and break up a long bad relationship. Sonya speaks gently.
You can change. I believe in you.
I understand.
Leroux stands up weakly. Picture shouted.
Wait. I told you not to make up your own mind.
Sonya holds the picture in both hands and looks straight ahead.
Find out why this boy's feelings backfire. The real reason.
Picture pauses and asks.
The real reason?
Sonya hands Leroux the big rose. Then she takes Leroux to the wall.
Wait a minute.
Still, Sonya ignores Picture's words and pushes Leroux back.
Hey, wait.
Said Picture, who rampaged on Leroux's back, and Big Rose, who waved her hand with a smile. The three of them disappeared into the light. Episode 8. Gold Rush America. A beautiful farm spreads out at the foot of the Rocky Mountains. Huts and tents line the riverside road, ruining the scenery. A short distance away, on top of a small hill, stands an old house, and a boy comes out of the front door. It is Jack. His mother appears behind him with a difficult look on her face and talks to Jack. Mother speaks. Then Jack's father shows up. He looks down at the men with colanders and shovels by the river. Jack leaves the house alone. There is a woman knitting in the garden. Nina, a young girl in a dress, comes out of the building. Nina walks so that her mother will not notice her, but her mother slowly turns around.
Where are you going dressed like that?
Nina is thrilled, but quickly smiles and turns around.
Mother, I have to wear a dress to class today.
You have other dresses to wear.
I can't dance well unless it's the same as the real thing.
You know, with yesterday's storm, there's water everywhere.
Yes, I'll be careful, Mother.
Nina turned her back and stuck out her tongue. Nina walked out of the gate and signaled Jack, who was hiding behind a hedge, to head for the river. At that time, a light appears in the sky. Leroux, Picture and Big Rose go out from the light. Big Rose smiles to Picture. It's a pleasure to be with you, Sir Picture. However, Picture has a difficult expression.
You're in the process of being punished, aren't you?
Big Rose was at a loss for an answer. At that moment, Leroux looked at the people on the field and said,
It's the 49ers.
Big Rose turns to Leroux. 49ers?
My dad calls them so.
Leroux remembers well because it's the closest past life.
They were the ones who came out from all of the world in 49th year.
Big Rose looks around. This is America, the 19th century. So where are you? Leroux pointed at Jack. Big Rose investigated Jack's face. I wonder if he's about your age. He looks kind of sad. Leroux replies as Jack.
Our family must move far up into the mountains to dig for gold upstream.
Are you 49ers, too?
No, Dad used to be a farmer, but he failed in his search for gold. Now, he is employed as a miner. It's an employer's order to move.
It's sad that you're leaving the house you've grown accustomed to.
The move is because of me.
Because of you?
Yes. The employer wants to separate me from her child. The employer hates me.
Picture, who was silently listening behind, finally joins the conversation.
Isn't your employer your mother? In this past life, she should already hate you.
I agree. At that moment, Nina rushed over to Jack, who was waiting by the river. LaRue speaks.
It is Pamela. There are not many children here, and I'm Pamela's only friend. We used to play together for a little while before dance lessons.
Nina looked as if she was about to cry.
Are you going to stop playing?
Jack is at a loss for an answer.
That's terrible.
Nina then squats down and covers her face with her hands. Jack watches her face from side. LaRue watches Nina's face from the opposite side.
Pamela.
Big Rose and Picture look at each other on their faces.
Wow.
Suddenly Nina stood up. Jack and LaRue, who had been peering at her from both sides, recoiled at the same time. Nina said,
I forgot. I was wearing this.
Nina looked around at the dress.
Thank goodness it's not wet.
Picture gives a wry smile.
She pretended to cry.
That's right. I forgot.
Past in this life, you're the only one who can be deceived at the same time.
She is so innocent.
I won't forgive you.
Saying that, Nina started running happily. Picture speaks.
She has had many bad experiences in her past lives, but no grudges in her soul. She's like an angel.
Jack and Nina go out to the banks of a large river. There was a small raft for storing tools. It was used to collect gold sand. Nina gets on the raft. Jack stops her, but she won't stop. With a mischievous look on her face, Nina unties the rope holding the raft in place, and the raft begins to drift away. Jack steps into the shallows. At that moment, the raft shakes and Nina loses her balance and falls into the river. Jack jumps into the river and swims to the raft. He then pulls Nina's upper body up. Nina drinks the water and coughs. With their upper bodies still on the raft, the two are swept downstream. A dog comes running from somewhere. The dog picks up a thick branch and jumps into the river. The distance between the dogs is getting shorter. The river is ending.
It flows into the ground. Once someone falls, they can never come back.
It looks like a big drain.
Nina and the others approach the inlet. There is a rock just before it. The only way to save themselves is to get on the rock. Jack shouts. Nina also looks desperately at the rock. The dog, unable to hold on to the thick branch, throws it away and climbs onto the shore. The branch washes up near Jack. Jack calls out. The two jumps toward the rock, but neither of them could get on the rock because they slipped. The raft went down the waterfall. Jack quickly grabbed a thick branch that was coming down the stream. The branch got stuck between the rocks and Jack was able to hang on. Nina grabbed onto Jack's leg. The two were exposed to heavy water on the slanting bedrock. LaRue speaks.
This is the nightmare I'm seeing.
In the nightmare, the girl was kicked after that. LaRue pleads with Picture.
Please help her.
I can't.
You already know. Now, we only look at what happened in the past. LaRue still goes to stop Jack.
Stop it. You'll live the rest of your life in regret.
Laru tries to grab Jack, but his hand slips through.
Even after you're gone, you won't be able to forget this.
But the worst moment arrives. Jack kicks Nina, Nina screams and go down into the darkness.
You idiot.
With that, Laru chases after Nina.
Pamela. Pamela.
Big Rose and Picture follow Laru. Big Rose shouts, "Give it up! Go back!" Big Rose grabs Picture. "Sir, excuse me." Big Rose goes under Laru and received Laru using Picture. In that position, the Big Rose flies upward. When they reach the ground, a woman collapses in shock. Big Rose could tell from her appearance that she was May of this past life. Big Rose murmurs, "Girl May." Big Rose looks at Nena's mother and is sucked into the light above with Laru on Picture. The three emerge from Akasha's wall of light and fall to the floor in pieces.
Oops, that was close.
Mirror said, catching the picture. Laru and Big Rose fall to the floor. Floor Lamp asks Big Rose,
"Why did the boy was on Picture?"
"It was a lot going on." Sonya picks up Big Rose and asks Picture,
"So, what did you find out?"
It is the weakness of his heart. Perhaps ever.
I knew it.
The wound is deep. I hope he has good inspiration.
Laru picks himself up.
My mother was protecting Pamela from me.
Laru slowly gets up.
I'm sure it will happen again.
Sonya speaks.
Next time, you can help her.
I should disappear.
Saying so, Laru opens the door.
I have to leave the island.
That's not right. Don't go out such feeling.
Laru walks out the door. Sonya rushes after him. They walked out the door and returned to the time they had each entered. Before Sonya, Laru is not there. There is May. May has just left Akasha after yelling at Laru. This is the moment when a strong inspiration hits her head. Sonya calls out to May, who is acting strangely.
What's wrong?
May is now anger at Laru suddenly boiling over, but she never says that.
No, I just have a headache.
Then, two leave there. A brief time later, Laru emerges from Akasha. Laru has only firm determination in his heart.
I have to leave the island.
Episode 9, The Escape. On the other side of Kudalpani, in the town of Chamber, there is a natural cave bay that completely encompasses a large bay. At the rescue police station in one of these bays, Subordinate greets the chief of the police station.
Thank you for your cooperation in the investigation of our country.
The chief speaks.
You are welcome. This island is open to all countries.
Subordinate shook his hand and showed him yesterday's Camise video.
This is him.
Yeah, I know who he is. He was the talk of the island.
He was the only survivor of the Camise unit of army. After he left the army, he formed a band of thieves with his old orphanage friends. They stole the king's treasure.
I didn't know Jay was such a big deal.
That is when Conter and the others first learned that he calls himself Jay. He explains that none of the men at the port call each other by their real names. Subordinate speaks.
He escaped twice during our search. The first time, complex urban underground passages. The second time, we were chasing it at sea, and it was caught in an undersea volcanic eruption. But we didn't think it was still alive.
In the army they said he was immortal. Anyway, he's a bad luck guy. But now he has let his guard down. This time I will approach him quietly and cuff him myself.
There are no surveillance cameras on this island. I was told there is a plan in case he escapes to the cave.
The chief hands a small machine to Cantor.
This is Scopes. It's a toy for the kids on the island. It can also track. It's so useful that the police have bought a few of them.
The police staff takes Cantor and the others outside to explain Scopes. Cantor speaks to subordinate.
Children's toys. There's no tension at all.
For a long time there have been no robberies or murders on the island. It can't be helped.
A few hours later, a large transport ship has arrived at the port of Kudalpani and is anchored along the quay. From the ship, air elevators pull up containers one after another and carry them. They are carried to a storage hole on the surface of the rock wall. In the control room, men wearing goggles operate it remotely. In the hallway in front of the control room, the transport captain and Amy are talking. Amy is preparing a plan to make it look like Jay escaped by the ship. At that moment, Uncle G's face appears on Sonya's communication terminal in the room.
Emmy was right. They are here. They've got the island's rescue police on their side and they're headed your way.
Look. There's another suspicious boat offshore.
That ship is stopped and monitored.
Hey! There are air patrols on the cliffs and on the road.
It's too early. I can't believe they came so soon.
That country is very dangerous. They're going to stay on the island for months or years and search it out thoroughly, right?
Is it true?
Yes, but what should I do?
Emmy sighs. Then she asks the automated analysis AI assistant in the control room.
Regarding the example operation, the enemy has already landed. Tell me where to hide it in this situation.
The optimal hiding place remains the same. Point A. However, the chance of discovery is now 98%.
That means he can almost be found.
Do we have to let him out? Can you manage that?
Maybe his tanker will work.
Is it your friend?
Uncle G continues to talk, showing data on tankers and its crew.
The captain is an old friend. The crew are friends, too. They're going to make a passage off the east coast today. If he gets on it, he can escape across the border.
An air patrol stops at the entrance of the square and Cantor comes out.
The enemy is here. Let's get Jay there.
If he leaves, we will never see him again.
The automated analysis assistant explains what Emmy said. The only way to give the enemy less than a 10% chance of capturing Jay is to cut off all contact with the island's human population.
You're exaggerating. Anyway, get Jay over here without being spotted by the enemy.
The image on the device disappeared. Sonya gently told the confused Emmy.
It's best to let him go for now. Show Jay away.
Despite not being convinced, Emmy ran off to find Jay. Sonya gathers the men of the port.
You must cooperate with us.
The men look happy.
Abstract their way. We'll take care of it.
Gain time to get away. Gently.
This is Emmy's workroom. Various pieces of equipment are laid out. Emmy has been working on Jay's fake ID since last night, and she intends to replace it with a fake passport. Emmy takes Jay's picture.
Now you'll be impersonated as someone else. I've even put your information on the chip in this one, and it's in the main database.
The passports are ready. Emmy hurriedly took Jay to the dining room. Emmy opens the floor door at the back of the kitchen. There, water from the mountains is flowing here. Emmy descended into the underfloor canal herself and told Jay.
Go up the second pit, there's beam gondola, get on it.
Jay followed Emmy down the canal. From the harbor entrance, Cantor slowly walks toward the diner. As if to block his path, a group of men from the port crosses the street. They are all happily carrying burlap sacks. The men speak.
Get out of the way.
Luggage first here.
The number of men surrounding Cantor gradually increases. Some of them are carrying pots and kettles. Cantor is pinned down as the men on the outside push him for fun. Cantor yells,
Get away from me.
Okay, get away from him.
Then, the men threw everything in their hands at once. A large amount of white powder flew, and pots and kettles fell, making a violent noise. Seeing Cantor covered in powder, the men run around laughing hysterically. Sonya, watching her, sighs.
I told them, do gently.
After decides to leave the island, Luru packed his bag with the things he needed. However, he does not know how to leave the island. He thinks in his room. Then, Luru hears a noise coming from the harbor. When he goes outside and sees the commotion in the harbor, he rushes to the harbor with his bags on his back. Chapter 3, Trials of the Present World. Episode 10, Awakeness. In the large rock shelf plaza, the men were having a good time and making a lot of noise. Luru called out to one of them.
What's going on?
We're now get in the way of the guys who came to get Jay. It'll be fun. Won't you join us?
Enemies has come. So where is Jay going to hide?
Hide? No, I heard he's getting off the island.
Really? Plan was changed?
Upon hearing this, Luru decides to go along with the escape. Luru rushes to the diner. There he finds Sonya waiting for Emmy's return.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm going with Jay.
What?
Sonya looked at Luru's bag and understood how he felt. Then Luru noticed the waterway on the floor.
Jay must have escaped from here.
No. It was clogged with water.
It's lie.
Luru goes into the floor.
No way, his escape is a life-threatening one.
Luru runs tunnel without saying.
Listen to me, wait.
Sonya's voice echoed across the waterway. Jay and Emmy come running down the waterway and stop in front of a ladder.
Beam gondola up there. Hurry up and go.
Thank you, Emmy. I'm going out for a bit.
For a bit. No. You never go back here. We will not even contact you from now on. If you are to survive, we must.
Jay can't speak anything back.
I see.
Come on, hurry up.
Jay climbs up the ladder. Emmy sighs sadly. At the time, Luru comes there.
Is Jay here?
Yes.
Luru thanked her and climbed up the ladder. When Jay went above ground, he found Beam Gondola. Behind it was a series of freight cars loaded with food. Beam Gondola is a machine used to deliver supplies throughout the island. It travels through light paths that stretch across vertical cliffs and caves. Jay rode on and the panel lit up.
Our destination is Gural Express.
Then, a complex light rail appeared through the island's caves. I have set the destination to Gulal Express. Beam Gondola started moving slowly. However, the freight cars are heavy with cargo and will not speed up.
Cut the wagon's loose.
An invalid order?
It's a waste of time.
Having no choice, Jay disconnects the freight car by hand. Then, the freight car begins to move slowly backward. It was a move that Jay did not expect. The freight car speeds up and heads toward the garage of the large rock shelf plaza. Then, with a loud noise, the wagons hit the garage violently. At the sound, everyone in the plaza turned to look at it at once. Subordinate speaks.
It's him. He's trying to escape into the cave.
The chief happily held out the scopes.
It's time for this to go to work.
At that moment, Laru appears on the ground. Jay is surprised. Laru gets into the beam gondola without saying a word.
Let's get off the island.
You can't go. Get off this.
No.
Just get off.
The scopes then surrounded them. Stopping in midair, the scopes turned on their patrol lights all at once.
Okay, I'll take you to the anchorage's base. That's it. Hold on tight.
Jay started beam gondola.
Let's check these guys off.
Scopes chases after them with sirens blaring. In the large rock shelf plaza, Conter is watching the video sent from Scopes.
Not bad. Good for a child's toy.
The beam gondola, with Jay and Laru on board, speeds through a residential area. Pamela watches it. Beam gondola enters a cave arcade. Then beam gondola suddenly slows down.
What's going on?
It's a speed limit. Just like in a game, you can unlock all the commands. Say, change to free drive.
Change to free drive.
As Jay speaks so, beam gondola begins to accelerate again. Jay is satisfied.
Hey, I'm useful too, right?
I guess so.
Beam gondola races through the cavern arcade, where many people and air movers come and go. Laru tries to chase away the horde of scopes that are chasing it with a long stick. However, Scopes skillfully avoids it. Beam gondola passed through the research area, the factory area, and entered a narrow tunnel. Jay was going at full speed, even in the winding path of light. Some scopes hit rocks and fell, but many were still chasing them. After a while, a rail of light became straight. Far ahead, a bright light was visible.
We're going to the sea.
The gondola emerges from a hole in the cliff and runs along a rail of light that turns to the right. The sea is visible far below. The road of light continues on into the distance.
There was another road like this.
At the same time, Pamela brought May to Laru's room. She had seen the beam gondola chase and was curious about it. May laughed when she saw the empty room.
Laru ran away from home. No problem, at best, he's at Sonya's.
Pamela told about the chase with Jay. When May heard this, her attitude changed.
Why didn't you tell me that earlier?
May then puts Pamela on air move.
Laru has caused trouble for everyone again. It's probably because of that drifter.
Conter is watching Jay's pursuit on his terminal, but suddenly the image from the scopes disappears.
What is it?
The chief speaks carefree.
The battery must be dead.
Conter is mortified and instructs subordinate.
I knew I couldn't count on them. Get the helicopter out of here.
A short time after Scopes fell into the sea, a helicopter appeared in the distance. Laru asks,
Is that enemies, too?
I guess so.
Beam gondola goes behind the waterfall. It is a large space, and the path of light leads all the way to the end. To the right is a cliff. On the left side, there is a turbine that generates electricity using the water power of the waterfall. A helicopter is flying outside the waterfall. After the waterfall, the area beyond is an area of updrafts. This is where the strong winds from the ocean hit the shore and gather, creating a constant upward gale. Jay shouts,
Hold on!
Beam gondola has entered the area. With strong winds blowing from below, beam gondola pushed forward on the path of light. The helicopter following behind was blown up by the air currents. The helicopter lost its balance and hit a rock wall. After making a loud noise, the helicopter spins and falls.
Get down!
Shortly thereafter, the helicopter hits the beam gondola. Leroux was thrown from the beam gondola. Jay quickly grabbed Leroux's ankle and took the cloth cover with his other hand. Jay captures airflow using the cloth cover and rises. Above him you can see the large wings of a wind turbine facility.
We go over there.
The goal was the top wire mesh of the power generation facility. However, the cloth cover ripped just before it. Jay and Leroux fell onto the huge wind turbine blades. The blades are spinning slowly. Jay is holding onto the edge of the blade. Leroux, who is right next to him, is not holding onto the edge and slides down the gentle slope. Jay stretches his leg as far as he can.
Hold on. Come to my back.
Leroux climbed to Jay's body.
Are you okay?
Jay's hand holding onto the blade is nearing its limit. To get onto the wire mesh, he needs to hold onto the bar that can be seen above. But Jay can't reach it by jumping. Only Leroux can reach it by jumping up.
Look up. Jump on my shoulders and grab that bar.
I see.
Leroux climbs up to the shoulder.
I use the updraft and jump into the ocean.
What? That's impossible.
Let's go.
Jay jumps and pushes Leroux up. Leroux's body was able to float and hold onto the bars. Jay falls onto the blade and continues to slide down.
Jay.
Then, Jay falls into the ocean far below. The falling Jay receives the updrafts all over its body, and the speed of its fall is slowing down. Jay thinks that he may be able to jump into the sea somehow. But the next moment, a gust of wind blows from the side. The wind causes Jay to be knocked out of the air current. Jay is pushed by the crosswind and cannot return to the updraft. The rate of fall is increasing. The rocky terrain is directly below. It is a desperate situation. Jay gave up. At that moment, a round steel plate came flying out of nowhere. The steel plate hit Jay in the buttocks. It is the door of Akasha, which was in the large rock shelf plaza. Jay opens the door and jumps inside. Shortly thereafter, the steel plate struck a rock and fell through the air onto the rocky sand. Jay slipped into Akasha. Mugs and clotheslines welcome him.
Hello, welcome to Akasha.
Jay stands up.
Here I come again.
Picture wakes up and looks displeased.
You're here again.
At the large rock shelf plaza, Conter is listening to a report.
What? Does he fell off a power plant on the cliff?
The chief, listening besides, shows him the terminal and explains.
Here it is. It's like falling from a skyscraper. If he fell, he wouldn't be alive.
Conter looks frustrated.
We couldn't catch him alive, could we? It's no use. Just pull up the body.
Leroux climbed up to the wire fence of the power generation facility. However, he could not go any higher. The wire mesh further up was not high enough for him to climb by himself. May and Pamela appeared. May looked down at Leroux.
Leroux.
Mom.
Slightly relieved, May turns to an angry face.
You really bother me all the time.
Leroux apologizes as usual.
I'm sorry.
You should just fall off. It's good riddance.
Hearing this, Pamela looks at May in surprise.
Mother.
Pamela's words made May think back.
How shall we pull him up?
Pamela reaches for Leroux, who is directly below her. At that moment, a gust of wind blows and Pamela's body floats away. Pamela hits Leroux and they fall together onto the blades.
Pamela.
May remembers that nightmare. Now Leroux is grabbing the end of the blade and Pamela is grabbing Leroux's leg. This is the same situation that Jay and Leroux were in earlier. Suddenly Laru remembered Jay's words.
I use the updraft and jump into the ocean.
This image came to mind vividly. Time seems to have stopped in Laru. The mind is very calm. It's happiness that never experienced before. Very happy. Laru has no fear at all despite this extreme situation. The intense desire to fly has turned into a desire to leave Pamela with us as soon as possible. Laru bends his legs, pulls Pamela up. But May reaches out her hand.
I can't reach it.
Laru knows it is unreachable.
Look, just jump and you'll reach it.
I'm sure.
Now, Laru is being Jay. Then, Laru uses Jay's words.
I use the updrafts to jump into the ocean.
May was surprised.
What? You can't do that.
No, stop.
Laru can look forward to being airborne after this.
You've got to jump. Ready? Go.
Laru jumped as hard as he could to push Pamela up. Pamela's weight is gone, and he feels his body float away. Laru looked up. May had a firm grip on Pamela's arms.
Did it!
Laru exclaimed, then spun around and looked down. Laru stretches his arms and legs as far as they will go and catches a strong wind from below. As Jay said, the speed of the fall is quite slow. If he keeps this up, he will be able to jump safely into the sea. Laru lies on his back and enjoys swimming in the air with the wind on his back. At that moment, a strong crosswind hit. Laru is winded and hits a rock wall. He then fainted. May, who pulled Pamela up, can't move. Laru saved Pamela and chose to die himself. That's how it seemed to May.
Did it!
May's heart was also touched by Laru's smile when he shouted. May's eyes filled with uncontrollable tears.
I'm sorry.
No one can see them, but its tear turns the black stone of May's mala white. Episode 11 Junk Soul. In Akasha, where Jay jumped in, Picture is angry.
I told you not to come back.
Once leave here, I forget everything. I don't have a choice.
Big Rose, listening to their exchange, asks the watch in a whisper. Who is that?
He's a pain in the ass.
A pain in the ass? Picture speaks.
You always get out different times.
What do you mean different times?
The rules of the universe are to return to the time you entered Akasha.
I don't like preaching.
It's Junk Soul. Big Rose is inspiring. This is the first time she has met a human Junk Soul. Yesterday it was a snail, now it is human. She thinks. What's lucky? Jay walks towards the door. Picture speaks.
I'm not going to let you do that this time.
At Picture's signal, a stop sign came running. A rope marked, "No trespassing," also blocked the way. Jay, however, did not care and kicked the door open. Then he jumps out of the door. At that moment, there was a loud noise and the entire room warped. Akasha's staff flies. There, on a rock, the ocean waves lapped against it. Jay jumped out onto a rock. At that moment, there was an earthquake. The ground shook so much that Jay stumbled and realized that a rope was wrapped around his waist. The rope extends from inside Akasha. Jay realized that Akasha's memory was still intact.
Probably it's because I'm connected to you.
Rope smiles at Jay. Next thing, Jay notices something falling from directly above him. It is Laru.
Laru.
Laru wakes up.
Jay?
Jay holds the door open and shouts.
Stretch body. You dive in.
Laru stretches out his body. When the door is moved, Jay falls at the point where LaRue falls. Jay quickly held the door up, and LaRue fell at a high speed toward Jay's face. With a tremendous sound, LaRue enters the door. Jay throws the door to the side.
I thought I was going to die.
Jay then jumps in the door. Conjure had been watching the whole thing from a boat stranded on rocks. Conjure and Subordinate had come to search for Jay's body.
Did you see?
No, what?
Subordinate couldn't see Jay. Conjure shouted as he slid across the sloping deck.
He's on the rock. He's alive.
In Akasha, where LaRue jumped in, the moment LaRue jumped in, he was touching the white stone of Mala. Therefore, the wall of light reflected the forest of the primitive era. LaRue plowed through Akasha at breakneck speed and disappeared into a wall of light. No one knows what passed through. To the staff's surprise, Jay returned to Akasha.
Where is LaRue?
Floorlamp is surprised.
What? It was that boy?
Jay looked at the front wall of light.
He entered in there.
Then Furnitures and Miller stood in front of the wall. Jay is puzzled.
Let me tell you something good. You might want to reposition the door. No one's coming in.
What's?
Penstand was surprised when he looked outside the door. It is a rocky place in the sea.
What the hell is this place?
Staff gather at the door.
We're going to put the door back. Help me out.
And they go out. Anyone who interfered with Jay was gone. But now Floorlamp stops Jay. Floorlamp says,
Let me tell you something good, too.
Floorlamp retrieved a light from the Akashic records. That light became the scene of Jay's crash with Uncle G yesterday. Jay is suspended in midair with a rope around his neck, on the verge of fainting.
I didn't know I was in this condition.
You almost died, and next.
A cheap wooden door came flying and hit Jay, who nearly fainted. In his daze, Jay opened the door and jumped in.
You call the door when you are in danger. Only you use Akasha like this.
It just bumps into me on its own.
The main issue is just beginning. Look at this.
Just after the door closed, it opened again and Jay jumped out. The whole forest shook violently and everything was blown away. Jay hit a tree trunk and fainted, and the door flew off to the rocks.
When you jumped out, the forest shook. Now, next.
Floorlamp called out another light, which spread out, and the room became underwater. Jay, entangled in a net, fell from above.
1 year ago, remember?
That's when they chased me and I fell off the fishing boat.
Jay enters a door that appears in the water. As Jay jumps out of the door, the ground cracks open and magma erupts.
I can't believe it's an underwater volcano at a time like that timing.
You caused that volcano.
What? I caused?
Floorlamp again calls the next light.
This is 5 years ago.
The scene then changes to a battlefield. As Jay, dressed in his military uniform, runs out of Akasha's door, the ground cracks and many vehicles fall into it.
I remember. That's when I got run over by a tank.
Floorlamp calls next light. Next, 8 years ago. The scene that emerges is Jay trying to infiltrate an enemy hideout in Camise. Jay jumps out of the door and lightning strikes the trees around him.
That's when the enemy shot me.
Next, when you were a child.
When Jay was a street child. As Jay ran out the door, there was a huge earthquake and the building collapsed.
The time I fall from a building.
You know? Whenever you left Akasha, there was always a disaster, wasn't there?
It seems so.
What an amazing ability!
That's how you've been saved from danger.
It was more danger after went out the door.
But in the end, you escaped death.
That's enough, now explain to him how to open the door.
Jay responds.
How to open the door?
Floor Lamp replies and calls Jay to the door. She then tells Jay to kick the door. Jay does it, and the right door opens like a left door.
Right. When you kick it, the handle side opens on its axis.
Behind the open door is a view of the large rock shelf plaza. Jay peeks outside.
Think about it. You came in here on a different time, didn't you?
Floor Lamp has Jay hold the door handle.
Open this.
Jay grabbed the handle and opened the door. Then, the outside is on the verge of crashing into the rocks at a high rate of speed. Jay involuntarily pulled himself and closed the door.
Oh, that scared the hell out of me.
You know, this is the time you came in.
You want me to come out here? I'm going to hit the rocks the second I get out.
Of course. That's the right way out.
Jay says, opening and closing the door.
Am I really leaving here?
Picture says,
That is your destiny. You must follow the rules of the universe. Everyone does.
Jay gently kicks the door open. Pen stand has moved and the door is now in the rock shelf plaza. Jay closes the door.
Okay. I'll think about it.
Jay closes the door and turns to face the wall of light, but a no trespassing sign glares at him.
I'm glad you understand. So, I have something to show you.
Want to show me?
Yes. So, we'll take care of picking up him.
Then Picture says to Miller and Bigoose.
You two, go.
Nominated, Mirror happily jumps up and heads for the wall of light. Meanwhile, Big Rose, wanting to keep an eye on Jay, reluctantly follows. After that, Floor Lamp calls for the sofa.
Relax and have a good time.
Sofa approached from behind and sat Jay down. Jay is surprised. A side table slides over and juice is poured into cups. A basket brings popcorn and a screen and projector hang from the ceiling. It has become a comfortable home theater for Jay.
We can finally show you this. That's good.
The room darkens, the video and narration start. You are a junk soul, but if you know this, you will be one of us. You are all of space, time, and life. At that time, May and Pamela had left the power generation facility and were hugging each other and crying in air move. May repeats the same words.
LaRue, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Pamela is crushed by the sadness of having let LaRue die and knowing her mother's disappointment. Episode 12. A Ray of Light. Big Rose and Miller come to an underground water vein in the ancient forest. Big Rose looks around the cavity curiously. Where are we? Miller was happy to come alone but is grumpy because Big Rose has come. Miller replies in a huff.
It's a water vein deep underground. A fissure formed in the ground, trapping the animals that fell in.
I see, but look. They are shoveling out wood chips.
Someone is digging up there.
Big Rose peers into the tunnel leading up. Very long tunnel. As two ascended along the roots, they saw the blue bird at the end of the path. The blue bird had run out of energy just before coming out of the ground. Its beak was chipped, and its wings were in tatters. It was blind. That blue bird must have dug that tunnel. How many days it took? Beside the blue bird, LaRue is frantically calling out.
Come on, get up.
But the blue bird does not wake up. At that moment, Big Rose felt the mind of the big tree. It was this tree that taught this bird how to escape. It is rotting its own roots on purpose.
She's making it easier for the birds to dig. Grandma Sonya, good job.
Is this tree Grandma Sonya?
Yes, it is. Didn't you notice?
She have been guiding him for such a long time. That's amazing. She knows this bird was born to do this. Big Rose huffed. Wow, I can read the mind of this tree.
It's because you're plants, isn't it?
No, it comes from your mirror. Perhaps this is why Sir Picture called me.
What do you mean?
You are a mirror that reflects the soul to bring out your true power. Just then, a voice echoes around the area.
You're almost there. Wake up.
Then the bluebird wakes up, and LaRue shouts,
Yes. One more poke, then you're out.
The bird uses its last ounce of strength to push up off the ground. Slightly, the beak comes out. Yes, did it. LaRue and Big Rose rejoiced hand in hand. Pushed to the ground by snails and squirrels, the bird lay directly on the ground. The animals that had been trapped in the tunnel came out one after another. Afterwards, animals on the ground enter the tunnel. Big Rose says, From now, everyone in the forest can drink water. LaRue has a feeling of contentment coming from the bird as it lies down. Excellent! You had such a beautiful soul. Then Big Rose remembers that she has come to bring LaRue back. Big Rose says, Let's go back. A man had come looking for you.
It's Jay.
LaRue then go into the light. When Big Rose about to enter next, Miller called out.
Hey, look.
The soul had just emerged from the dead blue bird and was about to fly away. Big Rose touches the mirror of Miller. Grandma Sonya praises that bird for seeing it through to the end. Big Rose is hearing the voice of the big tree. The tree says,
You did a great job, thanks.
Big Rose says, Because he ended his life this way, his stone became such a beautiful white color. The soul of the bird flies toward the light on the horizon. In Akasha, staff members gather around the screen to watch. The ending narration is playing from the video. Have you understood the laws of the universe? Just by going out Akasha normally, you will be considered a good soul. The staff cheered when the video ended.
It's good how many times we watch.
The only good thing about Junk Soul coming is that we can see this.
Humans call it a mystery.
1,000 years too early for humans.
At that moment LaRue returns to Akasha. Jay is asleep on a sofa. LaRue calls out to him, and he wakes up. Jay stretches out and his eyes meet the sofa.
That was a good feeling, thanks.
Sofa smiles smugly. Jay says to LaRue,
Well, let's go back.
Jay slowly walks to the door. Then, Picture says to Jay,
You came in separately. Therefore, you can't get out the door with the boy.
Yes, you must go out at different times.
I thought about it. I decided to stop hitting the rocks.
What?
Because it seems pain.
What were you listening in the video?
Jay ignores and walks to the door. Picture says in a panic,
If two people leave at once, it will be a big problem.
It's my fault that this happened. I must save this boy.
You don't be so selfish.
Jay does not stop. Picture shouts.
Get him.
Sofas, chairs, and others jumped at Jay. But Jay quickly avoids them. Jay turns around.
Oh no.
Too bad.
They're not good at like this.
Goodbye.
Stop it.
Jay kicks open the door and throws LaRue. He then jumps out himself. At that moment, the inside of Akasha explodes violently, and the staff is blown away. This is the large rock shelf plaza. There is no one here now except Sonya and Emmy.
Where did they all go?
They seem to go to Uncle G's.
Why?
Reason unknown.
That's when it happened. An explosion echoed around the area, and a huge storm ball appeared. Various objects are spinning in the storm ball. Sonya said.
What's that?
Although not visible to Sonya, among the various objects were LaRue and Jay. Jay grabs LaRue with one hand and sticks the knife into the crate with the other. The next time the storm ball rose, they were out of the storm zone. They fell side by side on the crate and looked at each other. Both don't know what happened. Their last memory is falling off a cliff and nearly hitting a rock. Watching at the knife, LaRue asks,
Is this knife saved us?
Probably.
The interior of the Akasha has been destroyed and is now an infinite space. The staff members float in midair, slowly being drawn to the center of the light. Picture looks at the steel door and shouts,
Get out of there.
At the large rock shelf plaza, a huge storm ball is slowly rising. Emmy spotted Camise flying in on the other side of it.
Uncle G has really come.
Sonya says.
Why he comes?
Emmy runs to guide the plane to land. Jay realizes this and jumps off the crate and runs. Emmy doesn't know that Uncle G can't land. Jay yells Emmy.
Run away.
Turning around, Emmy stopped moving in surprise.
Why is Jay here?
Camise is closing in behind her. Jay jumped on Emmy and rolled straight into a rumble. Camise bounces on the ground and now changes direction, heading toward LaRue. LaRue is looking towards Camise but doesn't notice it. At that moment, the metal door behind LaRue opens. Pen Stand and Mirror, who are trying to escape from Akasha, notice LaRue.
That kid.
Camise charges towards LaRue.
LaRue.
LaRue comes to his senses, then quickly ducked down. They are surprised by Camise charging towards them.
Wow!
Mirror leans back, pushing the staff member behind him back. The force of the blow sends everyone flying into the air.
That kid again.
Hold on.
Floor lamp threw the rope. All the staff grabbed it, but it didn't reach Pen Stand. Pen Stand slowly moved away.
It's the space of nothingness. You'll be sucked in.
Emmy asks Jay as she lies on the ground.
Why are you here?
I don't know either. More importantly,
Jay says, looking at Camise.
Why is Uncle G flying? He told me to come.
Because he is moody.
He doesn't know how to land.
Camise is making a big left turn.
Looks like he can come back. Is there an air move?
Not here.
So let's use that one.
Jay and Emmy run to the luggage cart. Emmy gets in the driver's seat and Jay holds the rope with the hook inside the cart.
Okay. They'll be searching for you not just on the island, but all over the world. Don't ever think about going back.
Following Camise's lead, Emmy starts the cart. And she smiles as best she can and says,
If you die, I won't forgive you.
I see.
Emmy turns forward, holds back tears, and whispers,
Hopeless idiot.
Jay begins to spin the rope over his head. LaRue, lying face down on the crate, notices that Jay is about to jump onto Camise.
Jay!
LaRue starts running. Jay throws a rope with a hook, which finally catches Camise. As Jay hangs from the rope, the cart loses balance and flips over, sending Emmy tumbling to the ground.
Emmy.
Emmy immediately looks up and sends a sign to Jay that she's safe. Jay sends a sign back to Emmy, When Jay turns to face forward, LaRue is waiting for the rope.
LaRue.
Jay climbs up to the Camise's aircraft and pulls up the rope that was dragging along the ground. LaRue jumps up toward the bottom end of the rope.
No.
At that moment, Jay springs up the rope. LaRue's hand does not reach the ropes and he rolls to the ground. LaRue is stunned and watches Camise fly away.
Jay.
On Camise, Jay talks to Uncle G.
You're good for a first-timer.
It looked easy to me.
Then they take over the controls. Jay makes a big turn on Camise. Sonya comes to LaRue. LaRue is at a loss.
Jay is worried about you very much. He's going back to a world of life and death. He can't take you to that world. For him, you're his brother. No, more than that.
At that moment, Sonya noticed Camise coming back.
Can you let him leave without worrying?
Sonya shows Camise coming toward LaRue. LaRue stands up and looks. They could see Jay's face. Jay shouts,
LaRue.
Jay.
I can't take with you. Forgive me.
Of course, I forgive.
When Camise is closest, Jay throws the knife and the belt. LaRue catches it.
Sonya, please take care of LaRue.
Of course, leave it to me.
LaRue thinks he has to say something. Then, LaRue shouts,
I'm okay.
That was the best he could do. Jay will send the sign back to LaRue. LaRue says,
I didn't know what to say.
He has got our message.
Really?
Yes.
And Sonya has the same words as the big tree in the forest.
You did a great job, thanks.
LaRue watched Camise as he flew away. May's air move arrives.
LaRue?
At these words, Pamela, who had been lying face down, looks up.
What?
May got off air move and starts to run. Then she kneels in front of LaRue.
Are you really LaRue?
Pamela watches from afar, still in disbelief. Suddenly she smiled and started running. But the person she was headed to was Sonya, not LaRue. Pamela jumps and hugs Sonya. Sonya does not know what is going on. Pamela whispers,
Watch this.
Pamela takes out a piece of paper she had in her brooch and hands it to Sonya. Sonya reads,
Return to real mother.
Not that way, opposite side.
Please help LaRue.
The paper was tiny, so I wrote a short note like this. Then this even saved him from dropping.
Dropping? What?
Pamela points in the direction of the power generation facility.
LaRue fell off the big propeller over the waterfall earlier.
Is that the power plant?
Yes.
That can't happen.
Teehee.
On the crate, Akasha staff are tugging on a rope stretching from the door. Big Rose in it is looking at May and LaRue. What happened to girl May? The rope being pulled looks like it's in pain. Finally, the last pen stand and mirror appears.
Finally, I'm out.
Now I'm safe.
I need your help. Big Rose flew to May and mirrored Mala. Then all the stones were completely white. Big Rose is thrilled to say, Girl May, wounds of your soul were healed. By looking at her in the mirror, Big Rose was able to read May's soul. The long suffering was over now. No more nightmares. Big Rose pats her face with both leafy hands. Congratulations! Of course, May cannot be touched or heard. Pen stand comes and take turns looking into the mirror.
This boy's mala has also turned white.
Wow.
It's a miracle.
The staff members are talking about miracles. Picture calls out to everyone.
Enough, let's go.
The mirror follows the voice and soars into the sky. Floor lamp speaks to the mirror.
What's good happen? You look so happy.
Yeah.
It was a look of confidence on Mirror's face that Floorlamp had never seen before. While everyone else was rising one after another, Big Rose could not leave May. Floorlamp approached to her.
Come on, we have to leave now.
Big Rose replies. Then, with her eyes fixed on May, she gradually ascends into the sky. At that moment, May suddenly looked up at the sky. Her eyes were on Big Rose. She couldn't see Big Rose's face or figure, but they two could look at each other. May seemed to smile a little. Big Rose smiles back. May and Big Rose gradually move away from each other, maintaining eye contact. I hope you'll be happy, girl May. Akasha's staff went up into the sky. To the east, Camise looks like a bird in the light. It is the same as the picture on the brooch. It is that scene that remains in Sonya's mind. Pamela shows Sonya the brooch. Sonya is so moved that she cannot speak. At Camise, Uncle G is happily chatting away.
So, I got a sudden order and suddenly I needed a ship. They said, as gathering divers, they pay for all of them. So, I gathered all the portmen. Everyone is overjoyed that it's a good way to make some extra money. It's all because of you.
Jay said.
Because of me?
The seashore where Jay fell. The search for Jay continues the rocks just below the power generation facility. Then the ships of Uncle G's company Gorel Express, hired by Conter, arrived one after another. From the ship, men of the port, dressed as divers, jump into the sea one after another. There are more than 100 of them. They are happily diving and climbing on the rocks. At the large rock shelf plaza, Sonya watches her family leave in the plaza. Emmy is alone, staring at the eastern sky, even after the Camise is out of sight. That evening, May's house. LaRue uses a knife to peel back the veneer of her room. The atelier is gradually becoming visible. It is the mother's white studio that Pamela told him about. LaRue asks Pamela,
Will this allow my mother to create new works of art?
Pamela nods happily.
Then, did you write it?
Yes, I did.
LaRue hands Pamela a piece of paper on which he has written his wish. Pamela looks at it.
I see. You will meet him again.
Is that some kind of spell?
It's a secret.
At that moment, May's voice is heard from the living room.
Hey, you two, dinner's ready.
Pamela answered and entered the living room. LaRue, who was about to follow her, suddenly stopped and looked at the eastern sky. The end. After this, LaRue's room will become the original white studio. There, May will return to her old days of staring at stones. Someday, LaRue may go on a journey to find Jay. It will also be a journey to fulfill the wish that was put on the brooch. Emmy and Jay were attracted to each other, even though there was no sign of it. Will they meet again, or will they have to say goodbye until the next life? By the way, who was Jay in past life? Did you find out?
See you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you think this story is good, please share it on social networking sites. I hope this story will be passed on to as many people as possible. I will be very happy if you like each of the 12 episodes.